This is Algebra Chapter 1, covering 5 number summaries, box and whisker plots. So here's the warm-up that you'll find on your Schoology page. Our objectives today are to review the 5 number summaries and plotting that data in a box and whisker plot. So remember, a 5 number summary is a descriptive statistic. It contains 5 of the most important sample percentiles. The data is broken into 4 equal quarters. The 5 items here are called the minimum, the first quartile, the median, the third quartile, and the maximum. So what we're going to do here is we're going to practice on some sample data. So on our first data set here, you can see that it is in order from smallest to largest. And so we're just going to go through and find these items. So the minimum is obviously the smallest number, so that would be the 15. The maximum would be the biggest number, so that would be 35. And the median is the one that's in the middle. Now in this case we do have an odd number of numbers, so our middle number is the 21 here. Okay, now a review to find quartile 1. We're going to look at the numbers that are below the median and find the middle of that group. We have 4 numbers in this group, so I need the middle or the average between 17 and 19. So 17 plus 19, and then divide that by 2 because there are 2 values. And so quartile 1 comes out to 18. For quartile 3, I'm going to do everything above the median. And again, I have 4 values. So I'm going to find the average between 28 and 30. And that value comes out to 29. So here's my 5 number summary: 15, 18, 21, 29, and 35. Take a moment to try example 2 on your own, then check the video to see if you are correct. Now this data set was a little tricky in finding the median because it was an even number of numbers, so we had to go between 10 and 11, which was 10 and a half. Then since 10 and a half is not actually a number in our data set, we can include 10 in the lower half and 11 in the upper half when we're finding the quartiles. So again, we had to find the average for the numbers for the quartiles. We came out with 6.5 and 16.5. So again, our 5 number summary for this one is 4, 6.5, 10.5, 16.5, and 30. Now if you notice, 30 is quite a bit larger than all of the other numbers in this data set. So this 30 would be called an outlier. Okay, now using that same information, we're going to create a box and whisker plot. So you can see the data is exactly the same, but we have to reference back to our 5 number summary. So I know that I have to go from 15 up to 35, and I have to list all of the items to do a box and whisker plot. I don't want to number just these items, but I want to have a scale that's consistent by going up by ones. So I'm going to start at the lowest end here, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space, so maybe I'll start at 14. My next mark would be 15, but since my pen is kind of large for this space, I'm not going to label every single mark. So 14, 15, then we've got 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So you can see my labels are going up by 2, but I'm jumping 2 marks each time. So I'm going to finish labeling and then we'll put in our 5 number summary. Okay, now if you recall, we had our minimum and maximum, the 15 and the 35. So right above 15, I'm going to make a vertical bar, and right above 35 I'll do the same thing. Now some people do put dots instead of the vertical bars. That's fine as well. Then we're going to go for our median, and our median in this case was the value 21, so right above the 21 I'll make a vertical bar as well. And then I need my Q1 and Q3. My Q1, remember, came out to be 18, and my Q3 came out to be 29. So above 18 I'll put a mark, and above 29 I'll put a mark. And then it's a matter of connecting the inner 3 to make the box, and then connect the outer 2 as the whiskers. And so here you can see that this green line shows us the exact middle of the number of numbers. So on this lower half we have the same amount of numbers as on this upper half. But you can see the lower half of data is much more condensed, where the upper half of data is more spread out. So with our sample, our second sample of data, pause the video, try it on your own, and see if you can come up with the same box and whisker plot that I produced for an answer. And depending on where you started your scale, might be shifted up or down a little bit, but this should be the same size and at the same values for your box and whisker plot. Now this can be done through your calculator if you have a graphing calculator, and there are a few steps that you need to do in order to do this successfully on there. So I'm just going to type those out for you. So on your calculator, the first thing you want to hit, this is again for a graphing calculator, we're going to hit the Stat button and go to Edit. Our second step would be to type in the data into the L1 list. Our third step would be to hit Stat again and go to Calc, and then we're going to do one variable statistics. Now that is going to give you a plethora of information, but it will give you your 5-number summary if you scroll down. Now if you wanted to actually graph this on your calculator, you're going to start by hitting the second button and then the y equals. Then you're going to go to Stat Plot and turn it on, and we want the type to be a box, and then for our zoom we want to do zoom stat, and lastly, if you want to look through your data, you would hit the trace button. So these are the steps that you can practice if you'd like to do it on a graphing calculator. Now we're going to finish looking at this data set by looking at what's called the IQR, also known as the interquartile range. So let's just write that down. Now the interquartile range is taking your Q3 value and subtracting your Q1. Kind of like how you do the maximum minus the minimum for the regular range. So for the first set of data, our Q3 was the value of 29 and our Q1 value was the value of 18. So our interquartile range would be, the value of 11. So try this for your second set of data, pause the video, and see if you get the right answer. So you should do 16.5 minus 6.5, and that comes out to an interquartile range of 10. And that is it for our box and whisker plots 5-number summary lesson.